Hi, hello. Welcome to Mary's Cup of Tea, the self-love podcast for women, though all self-lovers are welcome here. I'm Mary. I write and speak about self-love, and I'm best known for my book, The Gift of Self-Love, and I also host retreats for women. And this is the podcast that will inspire you to love yourself. Real quick, before we dive in, I want to make sure you know about my book, The Gift of Self-Love. It's a workbook to help you build confidence, recognize your worth, and learn to love who you are. It's available anywhere books are sold. Thousands of people have it, love it, and have told me that it has greatly benefited their self-love journey, and I hope it'll do the same for you. And now let's get into the podcast. Hey, sister.
Hi, sister.
Welcome back to the Mary's Cup of Tea podcast.
Woohoo.
I'm excited to have you for part 2, where we get a little more serious,
Which is serious.
serious in French. In part 1, we recapped our France trip, talked about sister fights, mom, my haircut from hell, all our highs and lows, art. We talked a lot about art. But here in part 2, I would love to dive into some self-love advice for teen girls, since you just so happen to be the best teen girl in the world.
Oh, stop.
You're the youngest person
I am the
ever.
youngest person ever. For those who don't know, maybe scroll on TikTok a little more because oh my gosh, I'm on the craziest brain rot. You are the youngest person ever. America's Got Talent.
Just search that.
You are the youngest person ever. I think his name is Johan. He's like performing for America's Got Talent. He's got his like hands in a fist on over the microphone, and like the judges are like, "What is your name?" "My name is Johan." "How old are you, Johan?" "I am 4 years old." You are the youngest person ever. Oh my god. All right.
That has no business being that funny.
It's just the way that he stares blankly at the camera. You're like,
Oh my goodness. Okay, Syria, focus fox.
oh wow, that was a phrase. That was a choice.
That was a choice. You know what else is a choice? Embarrassment.
This is true.
Embarrassment is a choice. Think about it. Embarrassment is a choice. It's something I've been telling myself, and I've been telling my retreat girls, because we do a lot of like kooky things at retreats.
Kooky. I love that word.
Yeah, whenever they're hesitant, I always tell them embarrassment is a choice. Like, you can choose to be embarrassed and choose to feel cringy, or you can set yourself free. That's the self-love tea.
Wow.
Should we just end this episode?
Honestly,
Did I deliver?
done. Mike, draw.
Okay, so to be Syria, I'm imagining that who's listening to this episode is probably a big sister, an auntie, somebody who has children in their lives that they care about. Maybe they're a teacher or mentor, parent, caregiver, or one day wants to be one. And or maybe there are some teen girls listening out there. So I think that's like a lot of people to speak to, but I'm hoping that you can share your honest experience, like lived in real time experience. And then we can both kind of like piece out little tidbits of advice for anyone who's either wanting to support a teen in their life or somebody who wants to like heal their inner teen. Have you heard that phrase?
I have, yeah.
Really? Where did you hear that?
I feel like a lot of people say it, like heal their inner child.
Inner child.
Guess not inner teen.
I hear inner child all the time, but I heard one therapist say inner teen, and that was so important to me because I feel like I need more work there than like child self.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what do you experience as being a pertinent struggle for teen girls these days, like in terms of self-love?
I feel a struggle for a lot of teenagers, and not specifically teenage girls, like in general, teenagers, is they feel the need to be in a box of what other people expect them to be, whether that's for style or for what classes they take or what they should like and what they shouldn't like or what music they should listen to, etc., etc. But in reality, not everyone's the same. Even as you grow up, you see people with different jobs and different hobbies and different passions. So as a teenager, you're expected to be just like everyone else, but that's literally never the case. In reality, the most interesting people and the people who branch out and do what they love are the people who honestly end up being more noticed and more successful and more overall just happier with themselves, happier with their life and the place that they are. So that's something that I feel a lot of teenagers kind of need to wrap their head around, is that they don't need to be what everybody else expects them to be, and that it's okay to dress how you want to. It's okay to wear what you want to. It's okay to act how you act, unless you're a raging asshole, maybe don't do that. But just like in general, you don't need to confine yourself to be what all the girls who do dances on TikTok are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What are some ways that you've personally embraced your uniqueness?
I mean, I definitely spend a lot of time on like my own personal hobbies and passions, like art, and I definitely listen to a lot of music, and like I don't listen to a lot of music that I guess a lot of other people like, not to be like, oh, I'm not like other girls, but like in general, I feel like
You're a little more alternative.
I'm a little more alternative. I do like metal kind of music like that. I've met a lot of friends through music, and I would so much rather have the friends that I have now with what I like now and how I act now than if I had the most popular girls in my corner.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. I've also, I mean, not saying that I have the most alternative style, but I definitely try hard on my appearance and how I want to express myself before I go to school every day, whether that's like, I like to do my hair in like a blowout, like, whoa, totally just woke up like this kind of way.
Dyson, sponsor her.
Dyson, please. And you don't need a blueprint to be what you want to be. You don't need to follow somebody else's path. You can obviously like take tidbits from like what you like from another person, and then what you don't like from this, and then like kind of build your own character. But in the end, it's your own character. And that I feel is really important, especially as a teenager, because it's like your developmental times, what you're supposed to be doing as a teenager. And I feel like a lot of people don't get that.
Like experimenting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like even me sometimes, like I feel like I'm kind of fall back on what I'm more comfortable with, and I've got to be branching out a little bit more, but I have more fun when I branch out.
I just thought of something that you brought up in the last episode, but you were talking about some anxieties of like growing up and going to college. One quote that I've recently really lived by is, if the path before you is clear, you're probably on someone else's.
Mm.
And I thought of that when you said blueprint. Like if you are, you mentioned in the last episode, like it would be so much easier if you were just wanting to be a doctor or a lawyer, because then there's like a set path. And not saying that there's not unique doctors and lawyers out there, people who want to be. But if you had like an exact idea of who you want to be, then that exact idea is probably a projection of someone else's exact idea. It's not really your own. So you feeling lost or somebody feeling lost, whether it's in their adolescence or honestly, it never ends. Like, I don't think anybody has it ever figured out, even Oprah. I would love for her to confirm or deny. I don't even think she has a full idea of like, who am I without all of these people's preconceived notions and expectations. It's just so encouraging. It's so confidence giving to think like, I'm feeling a little like unsteady, but that's only because I'm literally paving my own path with each and every step.
Yeah, I agree.
What about social media? You mentioned to me off air that that's like a big, well, I think it's obvious, but like, tell me your thoughts on that.
I feel like social media, it shows you what is the picture perfect version of what you should be. And for a lot of people, everyone, that's not the reality. And like you've mentioned before how like people won't post every second of their life on social media because not every second of their life is beautiful, but that's all you see when they post everything that's amazing in their life. Like the perfect way that they contort their body so their body looks absolutely amazing, or even there's editing and stuff like that, or like the trips that they go on, or the experiences that they have, or like their picture perfect food. Well, they don't have picture perfect food every day. They don't look like that every day. They don't dress like this every day. And I feel like social media projects what other people expect your own life to be. And I feel like that's very damaging, especially as a teenager. When you're getting more into friendships and more into who you want to be, you start to forget that not everyone or not anyone is perfect all the time forever, and you want yourself to be, because that's what they're showing you.
Mm-hmm. You're very gracious and forgiving toward others. Where did you learn that?
I don't know. I guess my sister.
No way. I'm not patient.
I mean, with me, no. Which is fair. We're sisters. But the way that you talk to other people and just your whole platform altogether, I feel makes you patient, and you make it more evident that it isn't just them struggling, but it's a common thing among other people. Like, people aren't alone. And I feel like that's important.
Oh, that's really kind of you to say. Thank you. But to your note on like, I'm not patient toward you, I do want to be better with that. We always fight more with the people that we're closest with. We're always hardest.
Because we know they're going to fall back and that they'll be there.
Yeah. So in some ways, it's like me breaking down, crying in France about my back pain, compiled with being upset with you, compiled with being upset with myself for being such like a perfectionist about planning the trip. It's just me feeling like safe around you to like go through that wave and take you with me. And I do really want to be better about that. And to like any big sisters or aunties or parents listening, but I think I've accepted, as much as I want to be like your everything, like you come to me for, my sister talks to me about everything, like every single thing. Like, I don't even think that's healthy. If it could be true, it's just kind of in human nature that when something is so close to you, you can't really like see everything. You can't really like zoom out and handle it with perhaps like the same patience and grace, groundedness that you could with somebody else. Like, I'm sure you talk to your friend a lot more carefully than you talk to your big sister, for example. That's normal and that's healthy. So all these times that over the years I've put pressure on myself to be like really close to you, again, going back to the first episode, the harder I tried to do that, the more I pushed you away. I know I'm like this body image, self-love advocate person for people on the internet, but sometimes I'm not that person for you. And for a long time, I thought that made me a hypocrite. Like, oh, I can't even like help my own sister, or I can't even like get to our own mom, or like I can't even, do you know what I mean? Like get the point across to somebody in my immediate family who's super close to me, who doesn't seem to understand. I would beat myself up over that. And now I'm just kind of like, oh, like there could be certain things that you just don't talk to the people closest with about. And that's okay, because some things are just too close. You know, they're just too close to home. So you can't approach them objectively and effectively.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I feel like there's also like the slightest bit of like a generational gap to where like body image is viewed and perceived differently now than it was like when you were a teenager. I mean, I do talk with my friends about it, and I feel like there's definitely people I know around me who relate, but it's almost in like a different way than how you approach it. And I feel like nobody deals with body image and the way that they perceive themselves in the same way.
Yeah. I think I used to like kind of force myself to like lecture you or try to be like ultra body positive. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then
yeah,
I didn't see that really landing with you. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, not really. Because also part of being a teenager is like you don't really want to take in the information, but
that's coming from like your mom or your big sister.
Yeah.
So with that being said, you mentioned a little generational gap. And this part's interesting because yes, we are sisters. We have the same mom, albeit we have different dads and a 10-year age gap. So there is a little bit of a generational gap. And in some ways we're like very similar to the point where it hurts and like we can like telepathically communicate. And then in other ways, it feels like we're worlds apart. And which is why, going back to what I said earlier, I've kind of had to like let go of my need to like counsel you, for example, you know, kind of like knowing my boundary and stuff. So with that being said, we're like very similar in some ways, but very different in others. This is the part where we hesitantly could carefully, conscientiously talk about our crunchy mom.
Oh, yeah.
Because we have a crunchy mom now, although a little small difference is that she didn't become crunchy until like 10 years ago. So I didn't grow up with the same version of mom that you're now getting, which to define crunchy is like very health conscious, very like food focused, but always with this like, you know, end all be all goal of like perfect health. And she struggled with her own health a lot. The classic example of just women being gaslit by the medical industry, having lots of issues, typical traditional medicine not solving them, and then that pipeline of going to alternate therapies and modalities. So mom is like a textbook case of that, and just being like really on top of that. She's a biologist. She has like all this education and interest about the way like the body works and what is like optimally like quote unquote healthy or not. And it's in some ways can be very like black and white and toxic. So how has that affected your adolescence?
Well, I mean, the basis is it has affected it for sure. And there are definitely times where I wish I didn't have to tiptoe around food around my mom. But I feel like it's important to note that our mom is thin. She's very like natural, thin, goes to Pilates every day kind of mom. She will never walk into some place and have to like walk into a store and have to worry that something isn't going to fit her. It's almost hard for her. I feel it's hard for her to grasp that because she's never had to deal with it while both of us have, because I mean, both of us are bigger than our mom, which is like something to say.
She sometimes will jokingly be like, can you believe like I birthed these two big kids, you know, like because we are bigger than her.
I mean, I will be honest, I don't take it well all the time, but got to keep in mind that like our mom didn't grow up with that big of a stigma around like commenting on health and body and stuff like that. So I do try and have a little bit of empathy when she does say things like that, but it sucks sometimes because obviously you don't know what happens behind closed doors, but I'm definitely jealous of my thinner friends who I can tell their mom doesn't poke fun at their body as much as ours does, which I know she means in a loving way. She would never try to be mean about it, but again, as you were saying in the first part, that it's important to note perspective, especially with a foreign mom. It's hard to really come across both perspectives.
Our mom is literally the Slavic version of Gloria from Modern Family. Like quite literally. She is blunt. She's straightforward. She's funny without even trying. It's still appearance focused, but yet she's also like very natural and has never had surgery. So in some ways that's like very confidence like boosting, because you're like, oh, I have that gene. Like I'm not afraid to age. But in other ways it's like, oh my God, she's so naturally stunning. Like how could I ever
compare?
Yeah. How could I ever like live up to that? So mom is such a complex character. And I just have deep compassion for you, because there's like the question of like, she now has time to go to Pilates every single day. She works from home, so she's more in your hair. She has a little bit more disposable income to afford all these like organic Whole Foods, chia seed pudding stuff that she buys. Whereas like when I was growing up with mom, it was just like survival. It was fried potatoes every single night because that was cheap. It just feels a little bit different, I guess.
I mean, I've noticed that as time goes on, she's definitely more particular about food and body and how she views it. But she's very in the stigma of, oh, she's getting older now. She doesn't want to look older. So she pushes what she feels like she has to fix about herself and make sure she doesn't get bigger and make sure her wrinkles don't fall or her face doesn't fall or like things like that. And then she takes that and kind of pushes it onto the people that she loves because she wants to try and like save them from experiencing that.
And ultimately like keep her own grasp of control. It is 100% like her own fears about beauty, aging, womanhood.
For sure.
Still sucks. Tell me about like how mom has or what she has taught you about self-love. Because she's also very empowering. I just want to put it that way. Like,
yeah, she is.
She is very empowering, and she just has this way of like lifting you up and boosting your spirit.
She has definitely taught me that intelligence and education is number one. And I feel like that kind of falls into the self-love category, because to educate yourself is to like love yourself, to put effort in yourself is to love yourself. And she's definitely taught me to never dumb myself down for a boy.
And nobody can ever take away
your intelligence unless you
brain rot on TikTok.
Or just let yourself.
Hey, self-lovers, sorry to interrupt, but do you have my self-love playlist? There's over 300, if not 400 songs on it that are so fun and uplifting and empowering, and I think will really be perfect for when you're getting ready, trying to hype yourself up, dealing with a bad body image day, or anytime you just want a little boost of self-love. These tracks will do it for you. So head to maryscupoftea.com/playlist to get it, and know that I am dancing and jamming with you from afar. Cheers.
What else?
Mom is really big on just like developing, like she never stops learning. I think she's super open-minded. We can like disagree, like scream at each other, and she will still hear me out. She's always just tried to like keep an open mind and like talk to people and accept them for who they are. Mom's a huge tipper. Like mom will tip 25% on every bill. It's actually wild. She's always been that way, even when we had no money. And also friendships. Like mom is big girls girl.
Oh my gosh,
Big
my mom
girls
has
girl.
more friends than I do.
Mom
I thought I was social. My mom's a whole nother level.
My mom has like 40 friends.
Our mom.
You said my mom.
Okay, my mom.
She has like 40 friends. She's always doing something Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. It's impossible to make plans with her on a weekend. And she's just a big girl's girl. Like
she's always there for all of her friends. Always.
I would almost say she takes them more seriously than like, not her current marriage, but like a guy, you know? I mean, she loves her husband right now. Don't get me wrong. But like, she's definitely like 100% girl's girl, like there for her girls, whether it's her daughters, her friends, you know?
Definitely. That like leads into, you know, she doesn't really believe in needing a man.
Yeah.
That's something with my mom for sure. She
do not chase men.
Let men chase you.
No, literally. It's very like old school Slavic. One thing mom would tell me growing up is, especially when I was concerned as a kid about like, oh, I don't want to like appear too smart and like intimidate the boys or be like inaccessible. I remember I would beg my parents to get a phone when I was 12 and we just couldn't afford it. And my big concern and the whole reason I wanted a phone was, I mean, we didn't have social media. We barely had texting, is because there was a guy I liked. And like, how else were we supposed to get in contact if he didn't have my number so we could text? Like, how else could you talk if not text? So I was
pager,
a
pigeon,
a dove, send a dove,
fax machine. Like, there's plenty of ways. What's my snap?
There's this girl on TikTok who's like, what's my snap? Why don't you ask me what my pager is? I'm a 36-year-old grown-ass woman. Anyway, she sat me down. I was sobbing and I was like literally heartbroken because I was like, no boy will ever like me because I can't text. And my mom sat me down. She's like, listen. And I hated her in this moment. I just remember like it was yesterday. I hated her. I felt like she didn't understand me. I felt like she didn't care about my problems. I felt like this was social doom and she was the culprit. And she said, if boy can't get hold of you, then he'll just have to try harder. This is a blessing. You want the boy to work hard. He'll write you a letter. He'll make you a love note. He'll send it to you at your desk. There are other ways. Let him figure it out. Do not be easy. Do not be accessible. Be, you know, like very much that mindset of like, you do you. And the higher you raise yourself, the higher caliber of a boy you will attract, because he won't be afraid of that intelligence. He won't be afraid to write a love note when you don't have a phone to text. He won't be afraid, you know, you'll have such high standards that you'll only attract people, boys, gals, friends, anybody in your life in general to meet that wavelength.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like the boys that I have dated have been pretty intelligent, have kind of a passion to go towards. So I would say it kind of reflects for sure. I mean, there has been a couple really dumb boys, but it's okay. It's fine. Everyone makes mistakes.
Honestly, you have done so much better than me at your age.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, the other aspect that we have in common, although in different ways, is the whole absent, emotionally unavailable father situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of in different ways. Again, unique, similar to your art teacher, who I also got to experience when I was younger. I also got to experience your dad when I was younger. So I love that I can at least share some memories with you that you'll understand, because nobody else can understand your dad.
Oh yeah, he's one for the books. He's an interesting soul. That's I don't even know what to say about it. Sometimes I don't believe maybe I am adopted.
I've been telling you this for years.
Yeah, I know. And now I'm starting to maybe consider it we're just not alike in any way. I feel like we don't have anything in common.
He comes from a different world, a different mindset.
He's very intelligent though, so I will give him that.
To a fault. To the point where he cannot communicate with anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. What advice would you give to someone struggling with the grief of an emotionally unavailable parent?
I would definitely say that it's the unavailable parents' loss. It's nothing that reflects who you are as a person, but instead their unavailability to support you. Both of us have absent fathers, but we're both intelligent, confident, successful, beyond. And to anyone, would be a pleasure to be around either one of us. So to be honest, their loss. And I know that's a kind of a harsh way to put it, but it took a while for me to kind of accept it and kind of protect my peace, because I will be honest, my dad has kind of had a kind of come to Jesus moment, especially in the last few years, where he's tried to reach out, tried to improve himself a little more. But until it's something that's stable and something that I can trust, I realize that I don't need to double down to something that's already affected me so much, especially as I've been growing up. So I would say it's their loss.
Yeah. For most of my life, I would think, what is wrong with me that they don't love me? So that shame, what is wrong with me? And then as I got into my 20s, I was like, what is wrong with him? So it was the blame and the anger. So I went from shame to blame. And now I'm 100% their loss, his loss. We kind of rock as daughters. We are probably dream daughters. Objectively speaking, I'm not saying this because we're us, but objectively speaking, we have so much love to give and so much fun and personality and everything. So I went from shame to blame to now feeling just the loss for what it is for the both of us. Damn, this really sucks for kind of the both of us, but you more than me.
Don't want to compare
you,
it, but oh yeah.
Not you, toward my dad.
Oh,
yeah.
So sorry. Yeah, I feel the same way. But it is what it is.
C'est la vie.
C'est la vie.
That means such is life in French.
Je suis désolée. That's the one phrase I picked up in France. It means I'm sorry.
The one phrase.
Not the one phrase, but my favorite phrase, because it just rolls off the tongue. Je suis désolée. And it means I feel like it would say something. I thought it meant I'm so
I'm
excited.
Happy.
Yeah.
So
je suis désolée. It's I'm sorry.
She literally for a few days, she kept saying, je suis désolée. And I was like,
because I heard somebody on the street say it, and I think it's I walked in front of a picture or something, and they said je suis désolée, and I thought they were just really excited to be there. So I just don't understand. But it's okay. I got it now.
Okay, we're changing the definition. Je suis désolée. Désolée means
you're
excited.
Yes.
Happy. one unique aspect of both of our upbringings is just like how ethnic it is. My favorite celebrity, like the only celebrity that I like legitimately idolize in this way is Miley Cyrus. And it's because I grew up on Hannah Montana, because she lived, this double life. And I really, really, really deeply related to that. I don't even think I realized it as a kid as I was singing along that theme song to the Hannah Montana show, that I was literally singing about myself, because I felt like I would go to school, be this one American person, and then come home and my life was like so stupidly different. And I felt all the things, embarrassed, the choice of embarrassment, ashamed, just wanting to change. I think you're a little bit more you're a lot more accepting of it, right?
I think I am. I mean, there's definitely sometimes where like kids have poked fun at the fact that like my mom's Russian, just because of like recent times and things like that. Not to get political or anything, but
if it makes you feel any better, my nickname in high school was Stalin.
Wow. Well, mine was anal. So
why?
Spell my name backwards. Everybody goes through bullying.
Oh no. Well, would you be mad if I started calling you that?
Very. Oh my gosh, very.
Okay, good. Don't call me Stalin.
Okay, Stalin. I'm sorry. I didn't mean. I'm sorry.
Je suis désolée.
Je suis désolée. Je suis désolée. I'm excited. I don't even know where we were going with that.
Having a double life.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm definitely more open about it, and I feel like I'm kind of myself both at home and at school. Definitely more so at school and around friends, just because I feel like I don't think my mom could really understand like how I am as myself, but she also knows deeper parts of me than like a lot of other people do. So it's kind of like it's both. I feel like when I was younger, I would hide it a little bit more, because like little kids are more, they point out a little bit more like, oh, your mom has an accent. What's your mom doing here? Because they'll be like, why is she like here?
Why does your mom sound like that?
Yeah, why does your mom sound like that? Or like, I used to be so embarrassed to bring food because when my grandma used to cook for me, when I would be at my dad's house, my grandma would pack me lunch to take to school. And I used to be so embarrassed because when you would like open it, the smell fills the air, and then kids are like saying it's gross or doesn't smell good or stuff like that. And it always like hurts your feelings because you grow up with that.
Dude, the food shaming happens so much. Like the cultural ethnic food shaming happened to me so much growing up.
Yeah. Well, sorry it's not a burger with some American cheese. What can I say?
Yeah. Honestly, delicious. And not to mention, usually it'd be like cultivate, which is basically like a little burger patties.
Yeah. But it would like have like some like
seasoning onion.
Or like buttload of onion or some garlic or something in it. And it's just like all of a sudden it's disgusting. It's like, what do you order at In-N-Out?
You know something I learned on TikTok?
Oh God.
Yeah. You know how like British food is notorious for being bland?
Yeah.
Do you know why that is?
Why is that?
Okay, so you know
colonization?
Yes. Good answer. Good job. Literally, yes. Okay, I taught Alana on our trip. I said pretty much the answer to like every historical question is colonization. So I drilled her on this. You passed the test. Good job.
Thank you.
Yes. So you know how Great Britain like colonized a lot of places, including one of their biggest colonies was India. British people, in attempts to distance themselves from their ethnic colonies, started making their food very bland. It was kind of like a sign of like wealth and like, I'm not Indian, because Indians were like very famous for their rich spices.
Yeah.
So everything, and the same thing, like, okay, what about the whole like sad beige, like millennial gray aesthetic?
Wow.
Right?
That, because people judge, I don't like,
right?
I'm still processing it in my head, because more modern homes are usually linked with people who are a little bit more wealthy, and more modern homes have these sad beige walls and sad block toys.
It's like minimalism is this like sign of wealth, this like gray, neutral, monochromatic, like lack of color. Why? Because developing nations are so rich with color and flavor and spices and people and diversity, and all of that brightness that the world has to offer as a rebuttal to that, higher class people tend to stay away.
Wow. That's
so everything
crazy.
is colonization.
Colonization, guys.
There's this book by John Green called Everything is Tuberculosis.
Oh.
And this author, one of my favorite authors, he basically talks about how like so many historical events are linked to tuberculosis. If I were to write a book like that, or no, the book I would want to read, I don't think I'm qualified to write it. The book I would want to read is called Everything is Colonization.
Everything is colonization.
How did that start? Did I see something in France that was
Probably,
like colonization?
Yeah. I think so.
Well, I think I started with like, why do older people in Vietnam speak French?
Yeah, something like that. And then it just kept going on and on and on.
Why do people in Morocco speak French? Colonization.
Yeah.
Why do Brazilians speak Portuguese?
Colonization.
I feel like my dad when I tell you history stuff. What would you tell somebody who feels different or like they don't fit in, whether that's, you know, being from an immigrant family or in some kind of other way where they feel like they kind of code switch in between school and home or the outside world and their internal world?
I guess it's hard in a blunt way to say it, but be confident from where you've come from. Because you could be boring, but you're not. And I don't know if that's like a very, very blunt way to say it, but genuinely, if everyone was from the same place, had the same origin story, had the same set of parents, the same way of growing up, there wouldn't be any stories or anything to talk about really in the world because there would be no differences. And that's what people talk about the most. They debrief on differences. They relate to differences. Every story has some sort of element of difference. People should be more confident in the fact that they are a part of that difference.
Yeah, definitely. The nostalgia recently has like overtaken me in that I just like often think about the alternate life that I could have lived. Like if I was born in Moscow, you know what I mean? I was like, oh my God.
Even like, it's like a tradition for like the seniors to get like senior backpacks with like silly cartoons and like niche references from like when you were a little kid. And like I'm becoming a senior this year and I'm like looking for these backpacks and I'm like, I didn't watch Paw Patrol when I was little.
Yeah.
Like
I watched Masha and Medved.
Yeah, I watched Masha and Medved. Where's the backpacks for those? The TV show where it's like the dog goes goff goff.
Yeah.
Or like that one.
Or No Pagadi.
I don't think I remember.
No Pagadi.
No Pagadi.
You didn't watch
Or
No
the
Pagadi?
Crocodile Geno.
Crocodile Gena, yeah.
Carlson.
And Carlson, yeah.
I love Carlson.
We grew up on like old school Soviet cartoons because even though we're young, our mom loved them. So we watched them.
I never watched SpongeBob, which I feel like is a big shocker to a lot of people, but
we got to custom make you a backpack.
I know.
Tell me, well, we can always cut this out if you're not comfortable. Are you okay with talking about bullying?
I'm okay with talking about it because literally everyone goes through it. So it's not like I'd be alone with talking about it. Like, I mean, as I said, like, despite who you are and what popularity you are, especially in like high school or middle school, whatever, you're somehow, like, most of the time, you're going to be bullied in some way, shape, or form. Even the alternative kids bully the popular kids for being too basic. So I feel like it's very common. It's sad, but it's common. So yeah, I'm comfortable talking about it.
What's been like your experience and what helped get you through?
I've just been bullied, obviously. Like I grew up as like a bigger girl. And obviously like my parents are Russian and Ukrainian and I like different things. And like, obviously I didn't go to school with like designer clothing brands that like some kids do even now. And just like, I thrift all my clothes. So it's just like little things like that kids just like pick apart. And it gets so common that like you start to feel bad about yourself. And so it can be hard to overcome it. I guess I found comfort in friendships and people who like the same things that I do, like I mentioned before, like music and art, and you kind of build your own community. And the stronger your community is, I've noticed, the less it matters what people outside really think about.
That's so true. Is there any way you wish that me or mom or someone else like showed up for you differently?
It's definitely taken differently in the very beginning than it is like when you reflect back on it and talk about it again. Because like when I was actively anxious or feeling lost, I feel like I kind of needed this space to just like process it myself because I also didn't want to listen to other people. But then like after like checking in, figuring out like what's like the root or why it affects me so much. Because like obviously like the first thing you want to say is like, oh, it doesn't matter what other people think, but like it does matter. So it's important to talk about why it does matter, like what made it matter so much. For example, on my very first day of high school, my freshman year, I was really anxious because I had just switched districts. I remember I had a full mug of coffee in my hand and I was driving to school with my mom and I was just anxious and my mom was talking and she was saying like, tell me all about your school day, text me after you get to each of your classes, just like very protective mom stuff. And I started getting so anxious that I started to shake and I spilled my coffee all up in my mom's car. And she was so mad at me and she was yelling at me. She told me to just get out of the car. So I got out the car, started to tear up, started to cry. And I'm walking into high school, my very first day of high school. My mom calls me and she goes, sorry, you're going to do so good. Tell me about your day after. You will be good. You will be fine. And then she hangs up on me. And I'm walking into high school. I'm like, you know what? Thanks, Mom. So, I mean, I had a great day. She said that I would be fine, and I was fine. So I had a great day. I made one of my best friends that very first day. Yeah.
Wow. Did that phone call, you think, make a difference for you?
I feel like, yeah, because it also reassured me that, like, she didn't just notice what I did wrong, but also notice that I was anxious and just, like, noticed it, which was important to me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of feelings go unnoticed or feel like they go unnoticed for a lot of teenagers.
Yeah.
And I think it's just important to pay attention.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that's so important to me and just something I really try to practice is that you can always backtrack. You know, you can always call back if you left off on a bad note. You can always restart the conversation. You can always say, that came off wrong. Let me try that again. I don't think our Slavic mother is ever going to like explicitly apologize. I'm not even going to like expect that.
She'll give you like a bowl of strawberries and then you'll be fine.
She'll cut you like a little apple. And that's the peace offering, the olive branch. But nevertheless, I do see that is enough for me, at least. Like knowing that she's trying in her own way, or whether it's a mom, parent, or somebody else, like nobody can be perfect and say the perfect thing all the time. But I think it just matters to be like, wait, I thought about this a second time. And when you got out of the car, I realized that like the spilt coffee was not an issue. And I'm still here as your mom to like encourage you on your first day of school.
Exactly.
What advice would you give to your 13-year-old self, or perhaps that girl who was starting her first day of high school in a new district?
I know it's cheesy, but be confident in who you are as a person. Listen to whatever music you like, wear what you want to wear, dye your hair if you want to, cut your bangs, even if you don't think you'll like it, but you want to try. High school is a time to experiment and kind of figure out what you want to be, and not only like what you want to be job-wise, but like what kind of person you want to be. And I feel like it's so extremely important to branch out and explore those styles, encourage other people to do the same, and you will find the best friendships in being true to yourself. Everyone gets bullied. You shouldn't worry about bullying for trying to be yourself, because there will be at least that one person who admires you for being yourself.
The only thing I would add is like, I just regret how much energy and attention I gave to boys. And I have deep regrets about the friendships that I did not develop because I was too caught up in like the boyfriend du jour in high school. Because there are certain gals that I see now on like LinkedIn, because that's how cool these gals are, that they don't even have social media. They just like occasionally update on LinkedIn.
Ding,
and one
dang.
of them is like solving Israeli-Palestinian affairs and like knows Arabic and Swahili and like all these other languages. And then another one is working on like reproductive rights in, you know, the Southwest America. And another one is like they're up to such like cool things. And aside from them like coming out to be successful, I remember them in high school being such cool people, but me not really giving them the time of day because I was too caught up in my boyfriend, too caught up in being cool. And like, yeah, I was just trying too hard to be liked by other people who did not end up mattering. Like that person we ran into at the airport. I so badly wanted her to like me. On our way to France, I ran into my high school best friend's other best friend. She was literally